You and I are going to have a really wonderful time together tonight as we talk and as we share and as we spend time just sharing issues of life. Maximize the Moment has become a strong theme for me, a very significant message for me, and it is a message that is tailored to the continuity of a specific group of people. What group of people are you talking about? People who recognize that life is precious and that it is vital and that it is important, and that we are blessed every day. I mean, every day we wake up in the morning, we are blessed to be here. That God has gifted us with the day. And what we do with that day is our gift toward God and to ourselves. And that we will ultimately eat from the fruit in our old age that we nurtured in our youth. And so it's very, very important as we talk today that you take seriously the fact that every moment of your life is a rare gift that somebody else didn't get to get, but you got it. And it was handed to you exclusively. Don't let anybody dilute it, pollute it, or frustrate it. This is your day. And you got to maximize it. You got to live it to the fullest. You got to play it to the hilt. You can't let anybody hinder you. You can't let anything delay you, nothing stop you. This is your moment. Do you recognize you're living your life? Spending your days you will never see again. And we can't control how many days there are. We don't know how many days there are. And that's why we've got to treat every day as a precious commodity that we use to the optimum capacity. Can't let anybody steal my day. Can't let anybody bother me so bad that I spend a whole day stressed out because of you, because you can't replace my day. My day is irreplaceable. It's been given to me, and I must maximize every day. Are you ready for this? Yes. Clap your hands. Let's do it. In almost every major city in this country, you will find churches and synagogues, religious institutions, various architectural designs throughout the cities that have these appenditures, these apexes that we call spires that point up toward the heavens, particularly on churches and their steeples that we actually call spires because they point up. And what we want to do is, like those buildings, we want to take our lives and cause them to be spires, to point up. The word spire is where we get the word spiral. When you get the word spiral or circle, it is not just to form a circle, but it's to circle upward, spiraling upward. So what happens ultimately when we live our lives is that we live our lives not in straight lines. The shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line. Very seldom do things go straight. I don't care how you plan it, what you do, how you work at it, they just never go straight. They generally go around in circles. So if you're sitting here tonight and you've been feeling like your life was going in circles, that's good. There's nothing wrong with that. As long as it circles up rather than funnels down, okay? And in the next few sessions, I want to share with you ways that you can ensure that your life spirals up rather than funnels down. It is very important that you spiral in an upward motion. You remember the songs that we used to sing as little kids, we are climbing Jacob's ladder. Remember that? And it said every round goes higher and higher. That's the way you want your life to be. Every round to go higher and higher. And you have to make sure that every round is taking you upward and not downward. Spiral up. In order to do that, you have to have something up there that you're reaching for. There has to be, you have to have a vision or a goal that is beyond your reach. No small thinking here. This is for big thinking people. You don't have to have a lot of money. You don't have to have a lot of talent. You don't have to have a lot of things, but you do have to have a lot of faith to think for something beyond your reach. If everything you're hoping to attain in life can be touched with your fingertips, your hopes are too small. You must aspire to something that you cannot reach so that every round can take you closer and closer to the proximity of your goal. Lofty expectations. Set your sights high. It's very, very important, because if you don't do that, you don't have anything to aspire to. And if you don't have anything to aspire to, you will live beneath your privilege. You will settle for mediocrity. You will give up on your dreams and become discontented with life, and life becomes a flat line, boring, mundane, ritualistic experience, and the savor has gone out of your life. When the savor goes out of your life, you start looking for other people to augment your life and supplement your life and bring excitement back into your life. But when I get through teaching in this seminar, you're not going to need anybody to come into your life to supplement you. You're going to be excited when you get out of the bed in the morning. Absolutely. To aspire, we want to aspire to something that is greater than us, that is beyond us, that is significant enough to withstand the opposition that goes along with aspirations. The reason we have so much death and destruction and killing and frustration is that people are not aspiring to anything anymore. They've set their sights so low that they're bored with living. And they have to go to extreme behavior to modify and to cover up for a boring life. People who aspire to something get up out of the bed with plans. They get up out of the bed to do something. And that's why this becomes significant. I can only help somebody who's trying to do something. There's nothing worse than trying to help somebody who's not trying to do anything. How can I help you reach something you're not trying to reach? And so when you start talking about aspirations, you want to aspire to something before you expire. We say when somebody dies, they expire. They actually give up the breath of life. They expire, okay? And they expire, and all of us ultimately expire. But the issue is, if you reach what you aspired to before you expire, then it's not so bad. You want to aspire before you expire. And then you want to do what we're doing today, is come together with other people who are aspiring towards something so that we can conspire. So if we can conspire, and it's very important because I'm going to be teaching principles of who you should conspire with, because everybody should not be in your circle. You can only actually effectively, fervently conspire with people who aspire toward the same goals that you have. It doesn't matter where you start now. Don't be intimidated by how low you are, how underserved, undereducated, underprepared, underequipped. It doesn't matter where you start. Despise not the day of small beginnings. It's not where you start that matters, it's where you finish. It is where you finish. The race is not given to the swift, nor the war to the strong, but to him that endureth to the end. So I've got to aspire before I expire, and I want to conspire with people who have similar aspirations for several reasons. When you conspire with people who have similar aspirations, they are not envious. They're not devious. And they don't seemingly live to deter you from reaching the goals that you have in life. It's very, very important who you conspire with. Because if you don't conspire with people who have similar aspirations, Now, this is not elitism, because elitism says, I will only associate with you if we are on the same level. That's not what I'm saying. We don't have to be on the same level. We have to have the same goals. It doesn't matter where you are right now. It matters where you're going. If you're going to ride with me, we've got to be going in the same direction. Are you following what I'm saying? How many of you have serious aspirations? Oh, good. We're going to have some fun. We're going to have some fun. First thing, it's a wonderful thing to be able to raise your hand that you actually have aspirations. You know what you're saying to me? I'm going somewhere. I may not be there right now. I may not have attained it yet. I may not have accomplished it. It may not even look like I'm significant, but I am going somewhere. And I know where I'm going. I have a plan. I have a strategy. I have aspirations. It is people who have aspirations that can benefit from moments like this. Why? Because you can then inspire people who aspire. It's very difficult to inspire people who don't aspire. Inspire is as personal as you can get. It doesn't do you good to conspire with the right people if you are not inspired yourself. Inspired gets down to the core of your human existence. It is your life's philosophy about you. Inspired. It is personal. It is intimate. It is the rhythm that you hear in your soul. It is the magic in your feet that make you fly and soar through the air. It is the wind beneath your wings that makes you fly above the storm. And you cannot get this just from being around other people. This is inspire. Inspire. The spiral is on the inside. And once you have been inspired, you now have the fuel to aspire, and now you have the standards whereby you conspire with people who aspire for the same goals that you do before we all expire. Let's settle on some things, because if we're going to be effective, there's some things that we have to settle on. You have to settle on understanding that I believe with all of my heart that God wants us to be blessed. That he went through a lot of elaborate trouble to give us things that seemingly have no particular value, just him giving us aesthetics to enjoy, things like flower blossoms and the smell of a tree, or the sweetness in honey, were just given by the kindness of God to make sure that you had just an aesthetically beautiful, sensational experience while living. This is not the workings of someone who has no concerns about your comfort. In fact, I like to think of God as being like a potter to clay. And I'm told that when a potter gets ready to take clay and work it on a wheel, there is a rule that as the wheel begins to spin, the potter in the process of shaping the clay never presses down, always pulls it up. And so you got to settle on, no matter what mistakes you've made and no matter what you've been through in your past, there is an upward motion in the spinning of life that if you just keep on spinning and keep on going up, you become what he had in mind when he created you. Look at somebody and tell them, I'm on my way. There's a phrase that I use sometimes when I talk to my wife, and it's not theologically profound, and it may not be particularly prolific, and it may not even be impressive, and you may not even understand it, but I say, when I talk to her at various moments, I said, honey, he has that thing. There is this thing that certain people have, that they seem to be resilient. You could send them, you could just pull all their clothes off and send them naked into New York without a dime, without a penny. They come back in a few hours wearing a suit, whistling. They just come and say, I'm back. You know, they just got that thing. They got that thing about them. Have you ever seen people like that? They can go bankrupt. They can go down to absolutely nothing. They can lose absolutely everything. And you're feeling sorry for them and you're about to cry. In a few minutes, they open up a new business. They start up a new company and they come back whistling, wearing a suit, say, I'm back. They're the kind of people that when they walk in a room, they fill up the room. And without anybody reading their resume, you know that they are somebody. Now, money doesn't necessarily make you have this, nor does education give you this. This is not something that you get because you matriculated to the upper echelon of some distinctive university. This is just that thing. And if you have that thing, it causes you to be able to impact people, impact situations. It is the ability to be effective, even in the face of adversity. And I want to submit to you tonight, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, that every one of you has that thing. You may not have tapped into it. You may never have used it. It may never have been stimulated. Maybe nobody's ever pulled up on it before, but it's in you. It's in you. He put the thing in you. And what separates the men from the boys, the saints from the ain'ts, the haves from the have-nots, is being able to tap into that thing. If you ever tap into that thing, you'll never walk into a room with your head down, feeling intimidated or insecure, because you came with both guns loaded and cocked, and you're ready and you're shooting for bear. You know you're going to get the position. You know you're going to get the interview. You know you're going to get the job. You know you're going to get the loan. You know you're going to close the deal, because when you got up this morning, you had that thing, baby. You had that thing. Are you understanding what I'm saying? I want to share with you that anyone, anybody in here can do this. God never created any of us without giving us that thing. It's in you. Unfortunately, we've not all been in environments that were conducive to stimulate what we have. Unfortunately, we've not had people to encourage us to tap into what we have. In fact, we've had people that have demeaned and diminished what we've had and made us feel like that we didn't have what we did have. And you can only spend what you know you have. I can give you $1 million, but if you don't know you have it, you can't spend it. You have to be aware that you got the stuff or you can't use it. That's why there's got to be somebody in your life, a coach, a friend, a support system that helps you to identify you have that thing. You have that thing. After all, aren't we most attracted and most interested in people who help us identify what we have? That's who we really enjoy talking to, is people who can help you identify your resources. People who are interested in you, you like them. Have you ever seen anybody who was interested in you that you didn't like them? Anybody who wants to have a conversation with you about you, you got time. You want to talk to them because you know that you are the CEO, the chief executive officer, and the head president of your fan club. And anybody who wants to join the fan club, you are ready to take their application at any time, day or night, because you know you like you. That's good. That's a very healthy thing. In fact, I'm afraid of people who don't like themselves. Because if you don't love you, you can't love me. If you're to love your neighbor as you love yourself and you don't love yourself, then can you really love your neighbor? It becomes very difficult to do. What we need is somebody to help us to tap into what we have. That's why Maximize the Moment is very significant. That's why it's very, very important, because it helps you to, it doesn't give you the thing. God did that. It helps you identify the thing that God gave you. Now hear me good, because you've got to understand this. Some of you have reached, you've plateaued. You've reached a level of life, you've plateaued, and you've been on that level, and you've become satisfied with mediocrity, not recognizing that it's time to go to the next level. And so I want to be a coach, and I want to challenge you, and I might even irritate you, and it's all right if I irk you a little bit. If you get a little hostile, it's okay. I can handle it. If I can't handle it, it's a police officer right outside the door. Okay. Thank you. Right out of here. Amen. But what I want to do is challenge you to tap into the God-given thing, because you and I have a tendency to think that a few people have the thing, whatever the thing is. Whether it's in the corporate world, they'd say that you had charisma. In the church world, they'd say you had favor. If you came from the street, you say it's the thing. Whatever level you want to identify it on, we all have a tendency to feel like that some of us have it and some of us don't. Wrong. Wrong answer. God is no respecter of persons. So it wouldn't be fair for him to give it to one and not give it to another. It is in you. It is in you. I've always been shy, and I've just always been somebody, I don't know what it is. I'm a nice person, but people, they fail to recognize that beneath this shy, intrinsic, insecure, frail, fragile mentality, that I'm really a wonderful person if I ever had the chance. But I just can't do anything beyond a certain level. Who told you you couldn't? Yes. Whose report did you believe that made you think that you couldn't? My mother gave me a poem when I was a little boy that said that you have all that the greatest of men have had. 2 eyes, 2 ears, 2 hands, 2 feet. You've all that the greatest of men have had. Whether they were explorers or scientists or builders or speakers or motivators, they came here with no more or no less than you. The difference between the mighty and the mundane is what you do with what you have. Oh, we're going to have some fun. Are you ready for this? If God is no respecter of persons, and he is not, there is something that you must understand. He is a respecter of principles. There are some principles. If you don't learn the principles, you will not get the product. It has nothing to do with who you are as a person. It has something to do with principles. Understanding those principles, moving into those principles, and living by those principles has all to do with how well you do in school, how well you do in college, how well you do in corporate, how well you do in kingdom. It makes no difference. What you are aspiring to, your success is predicated on you understanding and learning the principles. Once you learn the principles, you can get the product regardless of what kind or color person you are. If you get the principles will work. The law of gravity, what goes up must come down. Doesn't matter who throws the ball up. Black hand, white hand, red hand, brown hand, Mexican hand, Asian hand, American hand. Makes no difference what kind of hand. Male hand, female hand. Makes no difference. If you get the principle, you can have the product. No more excuses saying, I can't do it because the moment you say that, you drank the poison. You drank the poison that killed your creativity. It doesn't matter what other people say about you. That's their poison. And nobody ever died from poison that they didn't ingest. It's when you say it that it becomes lethal. You are who you say you are. You can do what you say you can do. You can have what you say you can have. You can become what you say you can become. We used to just stop and say you are what God says you are. You can do what God says you can do. You can have what God says you can have. But it's not enough for God to say it. If what God says doesn't become my word, it has to be my word. I have to receive it, believe it, appropriate it, and walk in that thing. Get up out of the bed. When you get up out of the bed tomorrow morning, they're going to wonder where you've been. When I get through talking to you, when you get up out the bed tomorrow morning, you're not going to take your pajamas off. You're going to kick them off. You're going to kick them up in there and say, wow. Because it's your day. It's your world, squirrel. It's your world, squirrel. God woke you up this morning and said the next 24 hours are up to you. I gave them to you. You can be miserable, you can be sad, you can be depressed, you can be happy, you can be glad. It's up to you. It's your world, squirrel. God is no respecter of persons, but he is a respecter of principles. And if you're going to operate up under the principles, you can get the product. The principles will get you the product. I want to talk about three things. I want to talk about plans, I want to talk about products, and I want to talk about pace. I want to talk about your plans, your products, and your pace. Your plans are very significant because if you don't have plans, it is like saying you don't have aspirations. The plan is the thing that you use to bridge the gulf between where you are and where you're going. Yes. The product is attaining the thing that you dreamed of. I will not rest to leave it in a dream state. I'm going to wake up with this. And the plan shows me how I systematically, methodically intend to get from one level to the next level. I have a plan. I have a plan. Touch somebody and tell them, I have a plan. There are 5 things that having a plan will do for you that are very, very important. The human behavior studies list these 5 things as being very significant for people who have a plan. Number 1, it helps balance tasks and priorities. It helps balance tasks and priorities. To him whom much is given, much is required. The more responsibilities, the more tasks you have on your life, the more you need a plan, because the plan helps you to balance the tasks and the priorities. Put your life in some sort of order. Life, when you start talking about maximizing a moment, moments have to be managed. Yes. Do you know your life has to be managed? And you can't manage your life without a plan. The bigger your life is, the more management you need. The more management you need, the greater plans you have to have. And it helps you to have these plans together so that you can balance your task and prioritize. If you don't do that, you walk into your day waiting on somebody else to tell you what's important for your day. It's your day. You determine what's important for your day. And you do that with the plans you make. And if you have no plans, your day is up for grabs. And let's face it, most of us get up out of the bed in the morning and our day is up for grabs, and it depends on who calls you first, who runs into you first, or who blew the horn. Your day could go anywhere. You have given the power of your day over to someone else because you woke up with no plan. And anytime you wake up with no plan, you are vulnerable for manipulation. Are you following what I'm saying? Number 2, you got to gain greater control of circumstances through your plans. Through a plan, if you have a plan, you gain greater control of your circumstances. That's what the plan helps you to do. It gives you control. It brings things from being overwhelming into some sort of controllable, reasonable, systematic, objective plan. You can have control. And let me say this. God can't bless you. People can't bless you. Companies can't bless you with anything that you can't handle. You have to be able to handle it. I wrote a book years ago, Can You Stand to Be Blessed? Before you ask for it, are you sure you could handle it? If everybody knew your name, could you live with it? If everybody saw your face on the screen, could you handle it? Before you ask for it, be sure that you have a plan to manage success, because success must be managed. What happens if you win? We spent years planning for if we fail, but do you have a plan if you win? What happens if you succeed? Number 3, it reduces stress and anxiety. Having a plan reduces stress and anxiety. You see people going, oh, I'm stressed. Oh, I'm just going to park. Everything's going crazy. So stressed. I'm not talking about anybody in here. Okay. I'm not talking about your wife. Don't quit punching her in the rib. I'm not talking about her. This is not about her. This is about having a plan. This is about having a plan so that life does not stress you out. You know you're getting ready to take on a new responsibility. You know you're getting ready to take on a greater task. Your plan has to accommodate that. Are you hearing what I'm saying? Why am I teaching you this? Because you're getting ready to be blessed out of your socks. I mean, pressed down, shaking together, and running over. You got to be ready for what's about to happen in your life. Is this good? Number 4, it allows reaction to change. It allows reaction to change. When you have a plan, you have a plan in place that should accommodate change. The plan can't be one-dimensional. It has to be progressive. It has to allow you the opportunity to change, the dexterity and the flexibility to grow and to increase. Stop apologizing to people who say you changed. Stop trying to prove to them that you didn't change. The only thing that didn't change is things that didn't live. You must change. You can't grow and not change. Growth is change. Quit trying to prove to people that you haven't changed. The next time they say, look like you changed, say, oh, yes. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Tell them, say, I've really changed. I have really changed. I am not the person you knew 10 years ago. I don't want to be the person you knew 10 years ago. Don't try to make me be the person you knew 10 years ago. I've changed. I've changed. Now, why haven't you? Why haven't you? I mean, you know, if you're late, you should have changed too. And the 5th thing that having a plan does, it frees up your time. It frees up your time in a very significant way, because we're going to talk about how to plan, to allow in your plan, to prepare in your plan the flexibility to be human. Plan on it. Plan on getting tired. Plan on it. Allow room to rest. Allow room to become bored and need to change your pace. Plan on it. Quit letting it shock you and surprise you. You're human. It's okay. We like you anyway. Your plans, your products, there's a product that you have, there's something in you that you must aspire to reach. Your plan is going to show you how you reach it. And the other thing that's very significant is your pace, your rhythm. Everything in the universe has a rhythm. The evening and the morning were the first day. It's all rhythm. It's all circles. When Ezekiel talks about God, he describes God as a wheel in the middle of a wheel. A circle. The reason that we give a wedding ring as a circle, it is a circle of eternal love, eternal. It's endless. So a circular God stepped out on nothing and spoke a circular world. And the world that was circular began to spin in a circular motion, in a circular universe that we call a solar system. And the more everything spins around and around in a circular motion, it created what we call time. Yes. Time is the pace of the spiraling effect of the circle. Somewhere in my watch, there's spiraling pieces that spin around, and the spinning of the spiral determines the passing of the minutes and seconds. It's all moving in a circle. And so if I am going to be effective, I've got to develop a rhythm. Everything has a circle. It has a cycle where we get winter, spring, summer, and fall. It's all circular motions. It's cycles. A woman's body has a cycle. That's why she's able to reproduce and bring life into the world, because she has a cycle. You have a cycle, what we call a season. You've got a season to be fruitful, to be productive. You've got a season. You're spinning at a pace, and pace is everything. Everything. I've never understood people who had no rhythm. Have you ever seen people dancing who had no rhythm? I'm not talking about anybody in here. Just for the sake of argument, how many people in here are honest enough to admit you just can't dance? You just cannot dance. Come on, be honest. We won't get. Come on, put your hand up. It's okay. We won't be. You just cannot dance. Now, don't make me have you come up here and dance. Okay, since all of y'all are John Travolta. Some people, when they dance, I don't think they're listening at the music. I think they're listening at the words. They're dancing to the words, because when they got more words in, they just start doing everything. I don't think, they're not dancing. They have like a nerve twitch, you know. And it's very difficult to teach somebody to have rhythm. Have you seen at the dancing schools where they have the little spots on the floor and a 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1, 1, 2, 3, 2, 1, 2, 3. Have you ever seen it? You know, here they go. How do you teach? It's hard to teach people to have rhythm. Because in order to have rhythm, you just gotta feel it. You just gotta feel it. You just gotta know it's time. And when it's time, didn't know I could do that, did you? When it is time, you make your body move in alignment to the rhythm you hear in your soul. And that's what you're going to do with your life. You're going to make your life move to the rhythm you hear in your soul. Because when you start hearing the rhythm that the circular God spoke into a circular world, into a circular universe that started a circular season, when you start tying into all of those cycles, you're going to get your whole life to start moving in the rhythm. All you got to do to win is feel the rhythm of life. Your life isn't over. Your life isn't gone. Your life isn't past. You've just been out of rhythm. Your life needs to be syncopated. It needs to get on beat. Quit trying to be somewhere that you used to be. Quit wishing for some other period in your life, wishing you were 20 again or 40 again. Celebrate where you are right now. Right where you are right now. Right where you are right now. Because if you start to believing that the best of your life is behind you, it breaks the rhythm. You got to hear the beat that's coming right now. The best beat is the beat that you're about to hear next. And you've got to plan and be ready so that when God does the drum roll, you make your life line up with what he has for you to receive. So we're going to have a plan. We're going to have a product. And we're going to have a pace. And if you can just pace yourself, you don't have to get it all today. Because you got to pace. You got a pace. And each day, you're moving a little closer towards your goal because you have a pace. You have a pace, you have a plan, you have a product, you have a rhythm, and you have a moment. And you absolutely must maximize that moment. I want you to do something for me. I want you to just shake hands with 3 people and say, maximize the moment.